Welcome to Fat, Dumb, and Angry. We're doing a new segment today. We're calling it Nick's Picks. And today's pick is going to be The Invincible Armour. The Invincible Armour is a film starring John Liu, Tino Wong, and Zhang Li Huang. Written by Lu Tung. Oh my god, I'm going to do so bad with these names. Whatever. Directed by Nangxi Yung, a Chinese director and a producer and writer of independent film company in Hong Kong. It's about 90 minutes long, written and produced in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and released in June 29th, 1977. The main plot of the film is basically the main character gets framed for a murder of a political figure. That political figure is then usurped, and another main character is sent after the first one to hunt him down. They eventually become friends because they figured out that he was framed, and they go back and fight the main villain, who has the invincible armor, named, of course, after the movie. The film is classic B-movies, kung fu schlock, and it's wonderful. That's one of the reasons why I love it as one of my B-movie picks. It starts off simple enough with explaining the invincible armor, showing you some kung fu kind of stuff. Of course, the breaking pots. That starts a fascination right there with breaking pots. That and Zelda, breaking pots. The film doesn't waste very much time getting right into the action. The kung fu and the fighting is, honestly, it's not the greatest looking, because you can't tell some parts are, going kind of slow and it's very choreographed. But compared to the stuff we get today in like the Marvel movies, I don't know. I'd almost say this is almost better because at least it's real people doing stuff. The first 10 minutes as it takes to get going into the plot. It's in the way they contrive this assassination is pretty ridiculous, with him getting fake robbed to get set up in a situation to get saved so he could meet this guy, so they could do a practice fight, so he could do the surprise shiv, everyone's favorite move. And then, of course, when they get to the scene and they find that the political figure has been stabbed, they immediately just take the first person, who is our main character, as the person who did it for some reason, because I don't know. You find him, that's it. Whoever smelt it dealt it, I guess.
Well, go on. Don't just stand there. Shut up.
And of course, this is when the movie starts getting going. The hunt. The first people to try to get him, we get the awesome scene with the prayer beat down. Just that boss ass, boom! Moving on from that to the awesome jump out the window. There's a door. I beat up everybody in the room, but I'm going for the window. Then they move on to introducing the villain a little bit. Some scenes after that. Something that also stands out is the voice acting, a little hilariously enough. That's one of the great things about kung fu movies and stuff from the 70s and whatnot, is the voice acting. Hilarious. Especially the female characters.
Yes? Coming.
Right. But if you get hurt, then don't blame me. Right. I'm not as fast as I was, so I can't guard the king properly, and I need help.
He's here? He's waiting for you back there. Oh.
The reverse shot flip!
I don't want to kill you, but I will if you make me.
One of my personal favorite scenes where we get to the restaurant fight that he's out, where they do this elaborate thing to assassinate him, where fake acupuncture, and then he gets these giant needles. He's gonna just stab him with a knife or something. It's so stupid. But then we get the great line of,
I've made a vow not to kill, but it seems I must.
and I love that line so much I put it in one of my songs. But he immediately throws the needles he's got at some dude who's not threatening his life at all. He's the first death. He's the first one to die. This guy takes it in the head. 3 needles in the skull. Ooh. At this point in the film, we get our first confrontation between the main character, our protagonist, and our second protagonist. This is a kind of a character arc I do kind of like with some movies like this. I think I see it more in, I don't know, Asian stuff, but I don't know. But it's the character arc of the this person who starts as a villain, but he's only kind of perceived as the villain because he's following, like, you know, a moral code or whatever. But then as he sees that his moral code is off or something, you know, he's being used, he changes sides. And it's like the villain that becomes a good guy because he has, you know, his own, so this, you know, his own moral code. So this guy is going to, he starts as a villain, and they fight each other, which builds him up, both of them up as, like, competent fighters and stuff like that. And also gives you a reason when they join forces to have it mean something, because then it, like, shows that he's got this extra force that's going to help him finally take down the Invincible Armor dude at the end.
He's in my custody. Sorry, you can't have him.
And then we move on to a really interesting tangent in the movie that we get to, is the family that he gets involved with, our main character. This boy and his sister, of course, you know, so you get some little romance and a little bit boy-mance scene. They take him in, and they're going to, well, he's going to help them because they got bullies for some reason. But then you find out that they're, in return for him helping them, they're going to teach him, like, fucking the Invincible Armor, or, like, the thing to defeat the Invincible Armor. But it's like, these people know that. Why don't they just beat up the bullies themselves? But whatever. Either way, this whole ridiculous crap goes on with these guys coming in, and they're being these big bullies, and it's great voice acting. And they play this game of, like, if you can take me down in 10 hits, then you can have your way with my sister or whatever. Just to show that this kid's got the Invincible Armor, because he keeps whacking them, and they do these great scenes showing them get whacked without moving at all or whatever. We move on to the monkey scene after that. It's just silliness, and it's all funny. You like what you see down there, big boy?
Very good. But still, you ought to know by now that I never keep any of my promises to anybody. Take her, right?
And so now we start to get more of the confrontations. Their main protagonist is starting to hunt down the guy who killed the political figure in the first place. The second protagonist is getting closer to finding our main protagonist by finding the dudes who got beaten up trying to get diddle the sister and whatnot. And chill enough, like I said, like, while I like these characters, the main protagonist is, like, willing to give himself up. He just wants to bring the actual killer to justice. The second protagonist is willing to kind of reason with him and shows his moral code by when the other dude here comes to want to take the guy and, like, kill him or whatever, because this is what was going to happen, is this guy's going to run into a bunch of people that just want to kill the protagonist, and he's like, no, I have to bring the protagonist to justice. I didn't know John Carpenter scored this movie. So this was a great scene. When I used to watch this movie, I was always confused by it because they had two characters that looked exactly the same talking to each other. But it's because there's one playing the other, some shit like that, but whatever. So now we get to a little bit of the spaghetti western influence part. I think this is a little spaghetti western influence right here, where it's got the guy tied up, the actual killer tied up inside the middle of the street to draw this guy out. And so what he's going to do is then use his, the hidden daggers he's got to try to go for one of his pressure points. Because the thing is, with the Invincible Armor, there's one of your pressure points that is your weakness, and 8 others or something like that it could be, so only one of them. So you have to try all of them until you get to the right one, which the right one is going to be the funny one, and it's like the first one anybody would try for, but whatever. And then, like I was saying, with the spaghetti western stuff, it becomes like a showdown in the middle of the street between, like, the masters. Then we get our protagonist breaking into the middle of this and then running to hunt down the actual killer. And then we get the good kung fu master and the bad one fighting it off with the different techniques. And where it all comes into the end with the glorious special effects of going for that last pressure point, which is Il Nutsako, and showing the eggs come out of the hand. Like, that's genius. That's perfect.
You were wrong. My weak spot isn't there.
Next scenes we get, protagonist is chasing down the killer, And we get a couple of fights just in the wilderness. I don't know if they ran out of sets or something, but the killer's like family members are showing up to fight for him or whatever. We get Chinese Santa first off, and then we get the two brothers that jump off a mountain and then show up real close. And during this scene, we get the other protagonist showing up, and they do like a duel fight 2-on-2. And this was actually kind of an interesting scene I liked here, because they show the killer, kind of like the villain of the movie. You know, he's like kind of like the secondary villain, kind of. Gets actually back to his house, and his like mom is there, and she's like blind, and they kind of make him a little sympathetic. Just because the fact that, you know, we've all got a mom, and I guess when you kill somebody, you're kind of taking them away from somebody. And when the villain gets there too to like take him away, they kind of like lie to her, like, oh, don't worry, we're just going. He's just gonna take me somewhere, and you know, because she's blind, she'll never really know that he's just dead. But you know, so you feel for him a little bit, and then he tries to actually fight the main villain, and he just, you know, to demonstrate his dominance again, he just whoops him into complete oblivion.
Too late.
And then we get to our, I don't know if this is the second act low point or something, but then the protagonist finds the dead body of the killer, and he realizes, oh, there's no hope for me anymore. There'll be no justice, and he lets himself get shackled by the secondary protagonist and taken away. They walk further into the next scene, in which he lets him go because he doesn't quite believe this, and then the next scene we get is ninja fight. This is when we get to the end of the movie now, at the arena where it takes place, or at some kind of fortress or some bullshit like that. But this is when we get our secondary protagonist moving in, coming back to the villain, telling him that he let the guy get away. He doesn't trust this guy or whatever anymore, and goes to fight him full out. This is when he has to fight his 4 spear minions first, where we get to see some cool spear stuff. Then he has to fight the shirtless villain dude next, and whoops him, of course. Which I actually like for storytelling. It's kind of interesting where the main villain's like henchmen are taken out by our secondary protagonist. Like, he starts the whole ending conflict and then our protagonist shows up to help him in the end. You know, like when he finally, because he thought the protagonist would just run away, but of course, you know, our main protagonist, his whole plan was to come here and kill this guy anyway.
Right. I'm here too.
And in the end here, we get something we've always wished we'd gotten from Dragon Ball Z, which was a 2-on-1 fight for some reason. It's just impossible. Maybe they don't have any morals, but hey, they're fighting a super kung fu master with the iron armor, or the invincible armor. I feel like you should be allowed to do 2-on-1. We get the kids showing up too, the girls showing up at the end. You got to get everybody showing up for the finale. The kid tells him one last thing, which gives him the donkey punch, and has his nut releaso, to which he gives him the final crunch. And we see this glorious shot. I don't know about you, but you can really just feel that. You can feel it. You can feel that on the inside. And then just like that, they defeat the villain and they walk off into the sunset, roll the credits, play the awesome theme song. There we go, Invincible Armour. The reason I would say this definitely qualifies as a Nick's pick, I mean, it's obscure enough because I like all my things to be weird. I don't want to like anything normal. That's strange. That's strange to like normal things. But it's also just funny. It's way out there. It's got action, you know? It's got a lot of good action too, for especially nowadays when action is getting more and more like shaky cam and BS. Real choreography and watching people do the kicks and the weirdness. It's got enough weird, funny things. I'm not going to kill anybody. I guess now I'll kill somebody. I'm going to kill this guy over there. The jumping out the window, the reverse flips, like all this great stuff. You know, when you have limitations, it makes you film things different ways, and it's just hilarious. The Kung Fu movies, you know, always a source of glorious comedy right there. So yeah, Invincible Armour. I would give it a watch if you can find it anywhere to watch. It's got everything you need. It's got action. It's got comedy. It's got drama. It's got romance. It's got a monkey. What else do you need? It's hilarious. I can see people not being entertained by this, you know. There are of course there's parts where it's just sitting around talking, but come on, you get that with all the good B movies anyway. So yeah, give it a watch. Invincible Armour. Hopefully I put enough of the funny clips in here anyway that even if you don't watch it, you just saw the best parts. So thanks for checking out Fat, Dumb, and Angry. I'll be back with another Nick's Picks real soon. I'm thinking the next one will be like a horror movie. Maybe The Possum. I don't know. We'll let you know.